Thank you. Senator Kennedy.
Doctor, you don't look like Satan to me.
I hope not.
Some of my colleagues have accused you of everything but abandoning your children to wolves. Do you hate medical research?
I've devoted my life to medical research, Senator.
Do you hate the NIH?
I love the NIH. I think I said that in my Senate hearing, my earlier Senate hearing. I think it's the most important biomedical institution in the world.
This budget that we're debating today is the president's budget. When's the last time Congress took a president's budget and enacted it?
Patriots, it's time to talk about something that's been going on behind the scenes. Right in front of our faces, your taxpayer dollars being wasted. And not just wasted being funneled into programs and projects that do nothing to solve the real problems facing hardworking Americans today. Now, I just watched the Senate hearing, you may have seen it, where Senator John Kennedy absolutely grilled an NIH official. And folks, it was glorious. Let me break it down for you, because this matters more than most people realize.
You know, the funny thing is, I've gotten thanks to this process, I've got to talk with all of you all.
When's the last time that happened?
I can't remember.
It's never happened in the history of ever happened.
I mean, everyone has strong opinions about what should happen, and Congress gets to have a say, and that's a good thing.
There's some changes that need to be made at the NIH, aren't there?
There are.
Okay. If I'm the president of a university, and I came to you at the NIH and said, I need $10 million to research a cure for nephritis. And I took that $10 million and spent $5 million of it renovating the vice provost home. That would be morally repugnant, wouldn't it?
It would.
If I were a college president and I came to NIH and asked for $20 million to research a cure for dementia, and I took $5 million of that and used it to buy a yacht for my university, that would be morally repugnant, wouldn't it?
That would, and no, that's not.
And that's happened before, hasn't it?
That's not hypothetical, alas.
And there's been a lot of talk about the difference between direct costs, spending the money, for example, on researching cures for nephritis, and indirect costs, overhead. Harvard, for example, with a $53 billion endowment, spends 69% of its money from NIH on overhead, does it not?
I haven't looked at the latest numbers, but it's definitely in that range.
Yale spends 67.5% on overhead, does it not?
Again, roughly in that range, yes.
So all this money spent on overhead is money that's not being spent on medical research, is that right?
Well, it's for fixed costs of like lab space and things, but also sometimes for other things. So it's some of it's absolutely necessary.
Well, if I'm the Gates Foundation and I came to the NIH and said, I don't want money, I want to give you money. I want to give you $100 billion.
Yeah.
But you can't spend more than 10% on overhead. Would the NIH turn it down?
I wouldn't turn it down, no. In fact, I think that Gates Foundation overhead rates are roughly, again, in that range, 10 to 15%.
The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation limits overhead to 15%, does it not?
That's what I understand, something like that.
Now, I want you to think in terms of the American people and the importance of medical research. What do you think is more important? And we have finite resources. Okay, and I support giving resources to NIH. I think NIH does breathtakingly innovative work. But if you ask American people, would you rather give money to research cerebrovascular disease, or would you rather give $142,000 to the Seattle Children's Hospital to study how to use telehealth to improve access to gender-affirming care? What do you think the American people would say?
Senator, the NIH should be a non-political organization, non-ideological, addressing the health needs of the American people.
But yet, the NIH also spent $120,000 in a grant to, quote, develop 3D avatars that help people work through gender dysphoria, end quote. Did it not?
It did.
And the NIH also spent $2,368,492, gave it to Brown University to study, quote, improving mental health among the LGBTQ community impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Did it not?
I think it did. Although I have to say that
Do you think that's more important than studying chronic lower respiratory disease?
I mean, I think we should address the real health needs of Americans, not divide Americans into we have to take into account the real differences in in the biology of people. But when we do that, we should do it in a way that really addresses their actual health needs. Not
I'm running out of time. What we have to do is spend the money on research.
We should, absolutely.
It's real simple.
I agree with you, Senator, 100%.
And some universities aren't, NIH is not calling them on it. Isn't it a fact that a study showed between 2017 and 2019, auditors found 137 critical trials funded with taxpayer money involving 41,000 kids, and they didn't even report the results? What happened to the money?
Senator, I think that researchers we support have an obligation to share their data publicly with the American people, no matter what the result.
Otherwise, it's wasted.
Yeah, agree.
All you want to do is fix NIH, don't you?
I do. I want to fix all those problems, Senator.
Thank you.
First of all, and this is a lot about where we're at in this country, Senator Kennedy had to start the hearing by reassuring the doctor that no, he doesn't look like Satan. That's the kind of circus we've turned Washington into. Everything's about image, not results. But here's what matters. That doctor admitted he loves the NIH. I'm glad he does. Medical research is important. It should be about curing cancer, fighting Alzheimer's, fixing chronic diseases that kill Americans every single day. That's what the American people expect when they pay their taxes. But here's where I get mad. Senator Kennedy laid out plain. These universities, Harvard, Yale, the so-called elite institutions, are taking our money through NIH grants. And you know what they're doing with it? They're spending up to 69% of it on overhead. Overhead, bureaucracy, office chairs, renovated lounges, executive homes, all while Americans can't afford basic prescriptions. Tell me, who in their right mind thinks Harvard, with a $53 billion endowment, needs your tax dollars to fix their vice provost's patio? It's disgusting. Even the Gates Foundation, no friend conservatives. By the way, caps overhead at 10 to 15%. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, same thing. But the NIH? They're handing out cash like candy on Halloween and looking the other way. Now listen closely. This is the part that should outrage everyone. Senator Kennedy gave the doctor a choice. Would you rather fund research to cure cerebrovascular disease, something that kills Americans every day, or would you rather hand $142,000 to Seattle Children's Hospital so they can build telehealth programs for gender-affirming care? Do you know what the NIH did? They funded the gender program. But it doesn't stop their $120,000 for 3D avatars to help people with gender dysphoria. Another $2.30 million to Brown University to improve mental health for the LGBTQ plus community impacted by COVID. Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, families are struggling to pay for insulin, and our veterans are waiting months to see doctors at the VA. This isn't about being anti-anyone. It's about priorities. We have limited money. And guess what? Americans expect their taxes to fund things that save lives, not social experiments, not woke ideology, not university out parties. And then it gets worse. Between 2017 and 2019, the NIH funded 137 clinical trials involving 41,000 children. And guess what happened? They didn't even publish the results. Gone. Forgotten. Like those kids didn't matter. Where's the accountability? But here's the good news. Senator Kennedy was right. The NIH can be fixed. It must be fixed. We don't need more money for NIH until NIH can prove that it respects your tax dollars and spends them the way you would. On curing diseases, on ending cancer, on making sure we actually get results. So I'm calling on every patriot watching this, left, right, center. I don't care we need to demand accountability. Call your senators. Write your representatives. Tell them you want the NIH focused on what matters. Saving lives, not pandering to political agendas. America deserves better. Our families deserve better. Our children deserve better. Stay strong, stay smart, stay free.